Hey, it's Chronologically Gaming, the only channel that's perpetually retro because we're playing every video game in order of release. You can't stop the game, so you can't stop this show. Let's go all the way back to the beginning of December 1982.
Kind of story. Everybody finds a way to shine. It don't matter.
And we were last playing Escape on the Sinclair ZX Spectrum. Let's see what our very next game is, but wait, but first we have to go back because I have to re-rate something we played before. Everybody remember Defender? We saw it on the Atari 5200 and I gave it 5 stars. Well, we had a fan, someone reached out to me and told me about the emulation we're using on the Atari home computer, and I rated Defender on the Atari home computer a little lower. Well, it turns out the emulator that I use has an emulator within an emulator within an emulator that allows you to adjust settings involving the color and sound and so forth, and it wasn't tweaked to the perfection it should be. In actuality, this game should be pretty much on par with Defender on the Atari 5200. So, I am re-rating Defender on the Atari home computer as 5 stars. For all the games you could play across all home computers right now, this Defender is top-notch. It deserves a higher rating, and we did. Alright, so let's go back to Escape. The last game that we've seen up to this point. Let's see and play every video game in order of release. Our very next game is The Factory on the Atari home computer. Let's check it out together because it's a generic name. I don't really know anything about this one. This one is only on the Atari home computer, and it marks the 434th game we've seen for this home computer. It is by HESware, or Human Engineered Software, the 14th time we've seen this company doing games like Dynamite Skier, Grid Runner, and Mosquito Infestation. And this one, if you look down the bottom left, is Sunburst Education, which means I think we're in educational territory. The very first time we've seen anything by Sunburst Communications or Sunburst Education. This is what you think of a factory. The machines are ready and waiting for you. You thinking you run a factory all by yourself? Ages 7 and up. So it's maybe geared for kids, but it almost sounds like something sinister, like waiting for the future. How would you like to run your own factory? And it has an example of the screenshot right here, and it shows the educational value. Helps children solve problems by thinking ahead, learning to break problems down into parts, work with basic math concepts, and practice computer programming logic, which we've kind of seen already. There's been cartridges on home consoles that have basic programming built in, so you can actually build your own games or design games using BASIC, the programming language. And so, sure, everyone's been doing that. What other artwork do we have for The Factory? This one's done by Mike Fish. The very first time we've seen anything by Mike. Way to go, Mike. I don't see him on the box, though. And we have this one, a demo version of it. I found this from the Atari Mania website. So they have alternate boxes. You can see this one's Sunburst Education. Still 7 years old, or 7 and older. And the back of the box for the alternate one looks a little bit different. But it really doesn't give me vibes that it's educational. It feels kind of like the management games that we've seen. So I guess we'll have to boot it up to see. Here's the ad you would have seen in magazines at the time. Play more, learn more. We have teasers by Tobbs. I haven't seen that game, and I don't know for sure if we will. But it just has The Factory there as well. There's the 5 1/4 floppy disk, and you can see the copyright because the first version of this was by Sunburst, and then HESware did it later. So that's why we're seeing the 1983 release date with an example of the screenshot. Oh, and Jeremiah, we went back and re-rated Defender for 5 stars on the Atari home computer, that version of it. All right, so how in the world do you play The Factory? If it's an educational game, hopefully it's not a giant manual. Oh my gosh, it is. It shows you what we're going to learn, thinking skills, and then look at this, because later we're going to see this on the Commodore 64. The first one is here on the Atari, so ignore Commodore 64. Pretend that one doesn't exist right now. Let's see. Going through the Atari side. There we go. How do you like to run your own factory? Who wouldn't? Got some screenshots. Some of the problems may stump you at first, but that's where the fun comes in. Every time you solve another problem, you get another thrill. Isn't that the point of edutainment? Of course, if you have friends, you can think of the job you can do, and you can see as we scroll down, nice pictures for the manual. I wonder if this was taught to kids in classrooms, or did anyone ever see this while they were at school? First job you have to do is understand how each of the machines work. You can test a machine by doing the punch. You can do 3 punches, 2 punches in square, circle, and I think there's one more shape. And then you can rotate the pieces All it's doing is taking a square piece and then manipulating it. You can rotate it in different degrees, in different directions, and then you can draw a stripe across in different thicknesses. You have different jobs building the factory. So I can already see what it's doing. There's only one other game that we've seen that could rival this one, and that was Rocky's Boots, a very, very well done educational game done by Warren Robinette, which essentially teaches you programming or the basic steps of programming. And this is what you're doing. You're telling the computer to do a job, simple jobs, and then after you do all the jobs, you have an output. And you want to see if you can do it right. And then it shows, yeah, we're going to make a product. They're going to give us a square to copy, and then we have to tell the machine or the factory what to do, and then see if the output's there. Yes, look, we're only halfway through. This feels like an employee handbook. Working in the factory. Won't that be fun, kids? And then other things to think about. They got some tips and tricks here too. Computer assembly lines, making you think like a robot. And then about the company. Okay, we got the gist of it. Sort of. Let's pop in that disc to play The Factory. This is by Mike Fish and Marge Cassell. Sunburst Communications, released in the beginning of December 1982. So the only other thing we saw Marge Cassell, she did Survival Math on the Apple II and the French Fur Trader game on the Sol 20. So way to go, Marge. We haven't done any games on the Sol 20 up to this point. So if you're confused, it's because we don't know what we'll pretend we don't know what the Sol 20 is, which is another computer. All right, so here we go. Sunburst Communications, The Factory. Programming by Mike Fish. Way to go, Mike. So you can see it's going to give us a few different options. Test a machine, and build a factory, make a product, and then it has descriptions, and you can end it from there. So what I'm going to do is we're just going to go into testing a machine, and so you can see what they do. They give you different options to play around with. This is an educational video game. It marks the 103rd educational video game that we've seen so far on Chronologically Gaming. We're getting edutainment here. This one is a math logic style game, so it's the 44th that we've seen up to this point, and it does involve some logic puzzles, which is the 12th time we've seen a video game that's done that. You cannot play with anybody, though. You notice that the menu didn't have gameplay options or multiplayer options. It's a single-player only experience. All right, so you press the arrow keys to move the box below, and what you do is you just select what machine you want. So if I want to do, for example, a punch machine, I pick the punch. Let's do a circle punch, and let's do 2 circles, and it's going to go through the machine. There it is. And punch it. And output it. And there's our 2 punches. Riveting. Do we want to test another one? No. So you have the concept. Now, the whole point of the game, I think, it looks like it restarted for us. The whole point of the game is they give you a shape, and then you're supposed to match that shape. So it's an interesting idea. A lot of the times we play educational games or edutainment games, they're just very slow right now. There's not anything that's driven me to play more except something like Typo or Typo Attack. That's been pretty cool. All right, let's build a factory. Ready? And see what happens. Building a factory means they're going to give us something and we try to copy it. I have never done this, only been testing the machines to see what they do or what happens. So now live on Chronologically Gaming, let's see what we want. Okay, what do we want to do? We want to, we get to make whatever we want. Okay, so let's punch first, square. And then let's do 1 punch. And then let's rotate it 90 degrees. And then draw a stripe that's thin across it, and then say we're done. So it's going to go through the process. Oh, there's the sound. Oh, I guess when you test a machine, there's no sound. Drags it to the rotation, rotates it a little bit, and then draws the stripe across it. So we got a little animation there, and then it shows us what we made after that process. We told the computer what to do, and then we waited for it to act it out. And there it is. Our product. Ooh. Not super fascinating. Do you want to build another factory? No. Very, very simple. So it's going to restart again. The cool part of the game, besides the testing or just messing around, is they give you something and you try to copy it. That's what I would say is the best part of this game. All right, so make a product. Ready? Let's try it. In the factory. Oh, that's true, Paul. We need to have that. A 3D printed factory game. Okay, so here's the challenge. We need to make this product right there. Everything's still one square, and now this is the meat of the game. This is what makes this an interesting puzzle game, because it kind of felt like a test demo up to this point. So now we want to, if I'm looking at the shape, I'm just going to guess. I'll say let's rotate it. Give me a 45 degree. And then let's do a square punch, triple punch. Let's see if that's it. Did that do it? So they're going to first do a 45 degree rotation right there. Pass it through, do 3 punches. 1, 2, 3. Did we match it? No, we didn't. So you can see what you have to do. There's a flaw in the product, it tells us. And then we continue to try again until we can make it match. So this right here is kind of interesting. Puzzle games are few and far between right now, but majority of the video games we play right now have been arcade, action video games. That's the biggest ones. So I applaud them trying to do something, and I could understand if you're in a rotation at school having some interest or some fun with this. And now that I saw what I did here, I want to make a tweak to make this different. And yes, Brad, majority of the games that are educational, they do get repetitive over time, so I can understand, not lasting so long. All right, so of all the games you could play right now on all home computers, if you were subjected to this in school, it would probably be rated higher. But because we rate this against every other game, against everything on all computers, I actually consider... Oh yes, Paul's already given me some help. I still would say this is fairly average. If for the concept and how it's executed, I would say above average. But because of the amount of content that's in this game, and because the skill involved isn't that big, but it is a little unique. So looking over the chat, I see some people throwing out around the average range, 2.5 star to 3 stars. 2.5 from Brian, 3 from Jeremiah. Mostly averages for everything you could play or see on the home computer right now. But I still applaud it because puzzle games are a little more unique. So I'll say 3 stars of everything right now on all home computers. The Factory is still an interesting video game. All right, after that, let's see what our next game is. Our very next video game takes us on a fantastic voyage. Again, this time on the Atari 2600. Let's check it out together. Here's the box for Fantastic Voyage. This one we've already seen on the Atari home computer back in November 1982, and this is on your Atari 2600, the 189th video game that we've seen on the Atari so far. It's taking the same artwork from the movie because it's a licensed video game. Fantastic. The Fantastic Voyage was released by Fox Video Games, the 8th video game that we've seen by this company for Atari and Sears systems. And even says programmed by Sirius there. 6 play options. Ooh, I'm not impressed. I want more play options on my games. Listen carefully, for this is a matter of life and death. An incredible medical journey is about to begin. You and your submarine are reduced to microscopic proportions and injected into the bloodstream of a critically ill patient. Your mission is navigate through a narrow network of veins and destroy a life-threatening blood clot located near the patient's brain. Defense cells, bacteria, antibodies, enzymes are only a few of the strange obstacles you'll find in your way. Prepare yourself for a fantastic journey. Anybody remember the movie where they shrink down? There it is, over there. They get in a tiny spaceship. They go fly into someone's bloodstream to help cure them. And let's see the other artwork we have for the Fantastic Voyage. Ooh, we have 2 different boxes, the original scan and then the reconstructed beautiful box. We also have the ad from other games that Fox Video Games has brought us, Alien, which we've already seen, and Megaforce. Really, really fun games. Alien as kind of like Pac-Man. And they say this one is a heart-stopping adventure. Yes, it is. There's our Atari 2600 with the cartridge. We just pop it in the top to play. The 20th Century Fox cartridges really don't look that much different than the other ones that Atari pumped out. And then we also have an example of the screenshot. And Jeremiah didn't watch the movie not too long ago. All right, tell us how to play. Again, the Fantastic Voyage. The other games we've seen by Fox Video Games up to this point have been Deadly Duck, Fast Eddie, Beanie Bopper, Worm War 1, and then, of course, Megaforce, Alien, and the last one we played was Turmoil, which is so much fun. So it says it was programmed by Sirius, and this is the 43rd video game we've seen from Sirius Software so far. It's the 7th game that they've done on home consoles up to this point. All right, so Fantastic Voyage. To set it up, let me zoom this in. Make sure the video system's ready, and begin. Do they have anything about the difficulty switches? I don't think so. The objective is you and your submarine are injected into the bloodstream of a critically ill patient. Your mission is to blast your way through several phases of artery obstacles and destroy a life-threatening blood clot. The controls are your Atari VCS joystick. You move your sub around and you're flying and shooting. It's a scrolling shoot 'em up. There's 6 play options which can be selected at any time. You can have a normal game, an extended normal game, a difficult version, the extended difficult, the easy game, and the extended easy game. We've seen a few games on the Atari that do that, where they're given games so that your younger brother or younger sister could play. In the extended options, the first 5 phases are longer. In the difficult ones, you face more obstacles to get to the blood clot. Here's an example of what the screen's like, and they break down what you're going to see on there. The heart monitor is down at the bottom, and it's like a display of the patient's condition. So if it's beating faster and faster, you're getting close to the patient getting a flat line or dying. And every time they get a slower hand of the clock, it completes a cycle. The patient also loses strength. And when you have the flat heart rate, you've lost it, and you get a game over. You get points for awarding. Of course, we get points for awarding. It's December 1982. Shoot the obstacles, get bonus points. The stronger the patient's heartbeat, when you complete the higher the bonus at the end. So here's what you need to do. The screenshot here shows the blood clot. You need to get to that point and then destroy it. You have enzymes. You have to attempt to shoot any enzyme to release healing properties. Blasting enzymes is the only way you can restore lost strength to the patient. Antibodies are released when your sub touches the walls. Do not touch the walls if you can. You have different phases to go through because this game essentially is like a vertically scrolling shooter in the vein of Scramble rather than horizontally. So you go through the phase. If you can get all the way through, then you move to the next phase and the next phase, and you go farther and farther. Up to phase 6. And then they give us some hints. I love the hints, which is another reason I like checking out the manual. So if you want to pause the video now, you can take a look and play for yourself any way you can. Yeah, and Brad brings up Vanguard from the chat. That's a good one. Vanguard was also doing horizontal and vertical. It was in the arcades, it was all over the place. They were pushing the boundaries of what scrolling could be. We've already seen Vanguard on the Atari 2600 too. Let's pop in that cartridge and play Fantastic Voyage. This is done by David Lubar, Fox Video Games, in the beginning of December 1982. Yeah, bring it on. I love it. It goes through in attract mode as soon as you start the game. This is the 4th time we've seen David Lubar on Chronologically Gaming. Way to go, David. He did World War I, Challenge of Nexar, and he also did Fantastic Voyage on the Atari home computer. If you notice in the manual, it brought up play modes. There really isn't any play options because you play by yourself. It's a single-player game only. You only need one joystick to go in. All right, so I'm just going to get started and reset, and we are in. I have movement of my ship, all different directions. As you go to the top, go through with the enzymes. Oh, that's right. And someone else was bringing up a game we haven't seen yet. We're really close to seeing it, though, and that's River Raid. It does give vibes of River Raid. Notice that when I pull back and the ship is at the bottom of the screen, it slows down, and whenever we move up, it's going to get faster and faster. You need to know what to shoot and what to avoid. The manual did not tell us or have pictures of what we need to shoot and what we need to avoid. It just told us, shoot the enzymes. Oh, here's some blood clots. But don't shoot the walls. That's what you're going to get in trouble with, because that's hurting the patient. There we go. And I'm already getting some help from the chat. Thanks so much, Jeremiah. Yeah, the key-looking things, I believe, are the enzymes. And you can see these are the blood clots. Oh, our patient isn't looking good. Let's let those pass by and stop shooting them. Oh gosh, and now the walls have closed in. We are getting closer to the blood clot, though. Let's slow it down. Pull back a little bit on the stick. Oh, and we flatlined before we got that. Oh, thanks, Charlie. So the bulbs are the white blood cells as we move to the top. We got a score of 12,000, and that's pretty much how the game works. If you want to hit the game select switch, you can see the top of the screen's going through the different game modes that we saw in the manual. There is the easy mode and the extended easy mode. I'm going to go with another normal game and then reset. Let's do it. Oh, wait. Give me that one. That'll make it feel really good. Okay, looking okay so far. Up to this point, this is the 181st scrolling shoot-'em-up that we played on Chronologically Gaming on all systems. This is the 20th that we've seen on home consoles. Home consoles, it's a little more rare to play a game like this, that is a scrolling shoot-'em-up. We already mentioned Vanguard that's available out there. There's also Zaxxon that's on the ColecoVision, one of the best ones in my opinion, especially best looking ones in my opinion. Worm World 1 is another really good one made by the same developer. Cosmic Avenger is also on the ColecoVision, scrolling horizontally. Freedom Fighters you could find on the Odyssey 2 or the video pack right now. Bermuda Triangle is also available. And Planet Patrol on the Atari 2600. Okay, we're getting close to the blood clot. Here we go. The keys will help reduce the heart rate. All right, we're getting close, and we need to, once we get to the end of this tunnel, if we, the patient doesn't die, then we blow up the blood clot. So while, scrolling shoot 'em up nowadays isn't particularly interesting, think about it. Of all the home consoles you could be playing this style of game on, this is only the 20th available out there. All right, we're doing all right. I was trying to avoid them, but it wouldn't let me. I gotta get around these. There it is. Got it. And that's the blood clot. And then you move on to the next phase and repeat ad nauseum. Oh, don't shoot the walls, though. So this is a preview of things to come. And what I mean is River Raid. While we haven't seen it yet, we're really close to the release. There's a lot of games that are going to be coming out for the holiday season. We're currently in the beginning of December 1982, and so many games are going to be pumped out before we get to the end of this year. And there's some really good ones. So expect this to be around the same time as River Raid and those other shoot-'em-ups that I mentioned that we've already played up to this point. It's a real plus that this game includes checkpoints where whenever I die, or if I make a mistake, then I can continue where I left off instead of just starting the whole thing over right back at the beginning again. And the game options is kind of fresh, makes it fun, and the game plays really well. It's also, I give it the nod for being unique. Not every game's like this. We see a lot more of games like this on home computers. I'm really looking at the Atari home computer too, because games like Caverns of Mars, this place is kind of like that. Oh, nope. I won't touch them. They look like blood clots to me. Oh, the heart rate's going up. Oh. Maybe we are supposed to shoot them. Oh. The patient's not doing so good. Yeah, the heart rate's going up. I won't shoot him. Yep. Pass over. Oh, it's getting tight. Maybe we can get some more enzymes before we get to the blood clot. Just don't touch the walls and don't shoot the walls and we'll be okay. Okay, here's one. All right, looking pretty good. Yes, thanks, Sisters of Mercy. Really appreciate the help. Having the live show with everyone here while we play the game, getting your experience for the very first time is so fun. All right, go slow, 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 easy. Let's breeze through this one. There it is. Awesome. And then it just keeps going. Now, so this game is giving us the theme of, shrinking to a tiny size. We're controlling a submarine. It's 2D scrolling, or I should say 2D auto scrolling. And it does have auto fire. If I hold the button down, it does continue to just shoot like this. This one is the very first game, and the one on the Atari home computer, of official Fantastic Voyage. Now, there's been games that are like this and similar to this because the movie Fantastic Voyage was a big hit, so people copied it. So up to this point, we've already seen games where you're shrunk down into a tiny size, going into someone's bloodstream or healing them. So we've seen on Chronologically Gaming 6 other games that are like this, very similar to this. Microbe is one of them. Microscopic Journey, Suicide Mission, which is on the Atari home computer that plays kind of like Asteroids. Then we also saw Tooth Invaders, where you're inside of a human body, not necessarily quite like Fantastic Voyage, but you get the idea. And then Microsurgeon. So this concept is here, but this is the first real Fantastic Voyage video game that we've seen up to this point. And I love it. So that's where we'll pause this one for our gameplay. But you have the idea of what the game's like. This one's actually all right. This is pretty good, especially when you consider that it's not official Atari, it's not Activision, and Fox Video Games sometimes get hit and miss, but they do have serious software that's helping them out. I really enjoyed this one. I already saw a 3.5 to 4 stars thrown out in the chat, and this is going to be rated against all the games that you've seen up to this point for all home consoles. That's Magnavox Odyssey, that's Intellivision, that's just think of every home console that's available right now. This will be rated against every one of those games. I got some 4 stars, even a 4.5 from Charlie, 3.5, and then James is saying rated the same as what we did on the Atari home computer. Yeah, Sisters of Mercy saying 4 stars as well. So if you're new to the show, the way we rate the games is if you consider this game a broken game, you would rate it somewhere in the 1-star range. If you consider this game a bad game, you'd rate this somewhere in the 2-star range. If you think this is pretty average for all the games you could play right now in December 1982, you rate it somewhere in the 3-star range. If you think this is a very good game, above average, excellent video game, you rate it somewhere in the 3.5 to 4-star range. And if you think this is one of the best games you could play on all home consoles right now, you'd rate it somewhere in the 5-star range. Oh, there we go. We got a 4.2 and a 4.5 star. There we go. Oh, yeah. Bumped it up to 4. Oh, man. So we got someone re-rated their game. Yeah, but overall, I'm still saying this is about 3.5 to 4 stars. If you think of all the games you could play right now on all systems, one of the reasons that I would want to rate it higher than something like Mega Mania or other shooters is because it's giving you a progression level to go through, and it also has a slight objective that's usually rare. So I'm thinking 4 stars for everything you could play up to this point. I don't know if I can go as high as saying the best game you could play on all home consoles. It is very, very well done. I would still give the nod to Turmoil if I had to. So I'll say 4 stars for Fantastic Voyage of all the games you could play on all home consoles right now. All right, after that, here's what we do on Chronologically Gaming. We just hop from game to game after every game release. So the next game release we're going to play is the Feasibility Experiment on the Atari home computer. This is the 435th game that we've seen on the Atari home computer thus far. Let's check out the box, which, you know what, we really can't. It's not a real box. I can't find the original first box for this game. That's how hard it is to come by. Originally released in the United Kingdom, this is another one of Brian Howarth's Mysterious Adventure series. This one is, you can see it's, I think, Channel 8 software is the release on the Atari home computer. This is the 4th time we've seen this company, but if you look in the bottom left, it's not the real box. This is the Commodore 64 version. Flip it over the back. What they've done is they take the same box and then switch the sticker out on the front. This game's a little bit more rare. I usually reference another blog called Ringa in Blue that does a chronological survey of every adventure game that's ever been released. And they haven't even covered this one yet, but they're about the same time as us. They're around 1982. So let's see the other artwork we could muster besides a fake box. So here's what you would have seen from magazines. That's kind of what I was looking for. That's the Golden Baton, which was also part of this series. But you can see that it doesn't really have a box for the feasibility experiment. Yes, Brian, it does seem like a game for the United Kingdom. So this one was done by Digital Fantasia, the third time we've seen that company. It's essentially Brian Howarth's company. This is the 11th time we've seen Brian Howarth do any game. Way to go, Brian. This is the 6th game or the 7th game in the Mysterious Adventure series, depending on how you're counting it. On the TRS-80, we've seen the first one, The Golden Baton, the second one, The Time Machine, the third one, The Arrow of Death, Part 1, and then The Arrow of Death Part 2. The Part 2 we also have seen on the Atari home computer and on MS-DOS, and then we saw Escape from Pulsar 7 and Circus, and we also are going to see the Feasibility Experiment coming up next on the TRS-80. On the VIC-20, they only had the Arrow of Death, and they only had one part. They never got the second part of it. So because they split the Arrow of Death into 2 parts, this could be the 6th or 7th, depending on how you're counting. This one is a chronologically confused series, to say the least. And there's the example of the screenshot. So not much that we could find out here, but let's just pop in that disc to play some of the Feasibility Experiment by Brian Howarth, Werner Barnes, Digital Fantasia, and Channel 8 Software, released in the beginning of December 1982. Hold on to your hats. It's time for an interactive fiction text adventure game, the 230th that we've seen so far on Chronologically Gaming. We have seen and played just a little bit of 230 text adventure games so far. And here it is. We're going to the United Kingdom to play. Do we want color? Of course we do. We want our text in color. Do we want to resume a saved game? We do not. Now this one does allow you to save, but it saves to tape. It's a little more cumbersome. I've played a few games where we get to save to disk, but we won't do that here. All right, so the Feasibility Experiment, a soft voice whispers, Ultimate Warrior, gather the treasures of our ancient culture or we are doomed. And this is going to split the screen up just like it does with the Scott Adams adventure games. They give us some instructions at the top, and then we do all the typing down at the bottom. And all right, people are commenting about the Mysterious Adventure series. And this series, honestly, is following on the footsteps of everything that Scott Adams did. In fact, Brian Howarth worked with Scott Adams first on 1 or 2 of his titles before he went his own way and did his own thing here. All right, here we go. We begin among some strange shapes, or it says we feel a surge of power among these vague shapes. And now, the whole point of this game is we have to gather the treasures. So it's a little bit like the original adventure. Go find some treasures and come back. But let's just dive in, start getting your grid paper out, map the game if you want to. We would if it was December 1982. And let's begin by going east, because it tells us our exits. I like that they asked if we want color, because there are no pictures. We organize the video games on the show based on if it's a adventure game with text only. This is the 230th of those. But then if it has some pictures, like still pictures or maybe a little animation, we call it a text adventure with a graphic or graphics. And then if it's true graphic adventure game, like in the future when we see King's Quest, then those games will be just called graphic adventure games. All right, so let's head east. We're in a viewing room and we can see a window. All right, we can go down. Let's go ahead and head down. Now notice at the bottom half of the screen, it's slowly scrolling up our previous entry so we can kind of have an idea of where we are. I like how the chat makes it a half-assed Scott Adams adventure. I guess so. Some of them, but I always say the last one or one of the most recent Scott Adams games have included graphics, and they're kind of like a remastered version. They're amazing. So this is having to compete with those style of games. All right, so after we go down, we are in a weapons room, and we can see a short sword. But we don't have time for swords. We have to keep going. Let's go north. Now we're in a tunnel, and there's a large ruby here. But don't touch the ruby. We have more things to see. Let's go east. I'm in a tunnel now, and I can go north, south, east, and west. And then let's go east now. North, east, down, north, east, north. And I'm back in the tunnel. I feel like I'm already in a maze at this point. All right, let's go east. Still in a tunnel. Go east. Still in a tunnel. Yes, I am lost in a tunnel. And then go south. I feel a surge of strange power. So I'm back at the strange shapes, I guess. Let's go east now. I'm in a stone hut. Let's go east again. I'm in a Stone Age village, and I can see several huts around here. Let's go east again. And then now I'm in a straw hut, and I can see plated rope. Let's get that rope. Okay, after we got the rope, let's head west. And from here, we're back in the stone village. Let's go south. We're on the path now. The other thing I already noticed playing this game compared to the other text adventure games is there's not a lot of not dialogue, but there's not a lot of text describing where we are. It's very, very simple. It reminds me of some of the first text adventure games. And the only reason I'm saying that is because the top-notch text adventure game right now is Zork. And the descriptions in Zork are amazing. It is like reading a book, a very well-written novel. And you can tell this is a little more simplistic. I'm on a path. I mean, what kind of path? I want details. Where's the details? I know, yeah, the descriptions, they're just very simple. Okay, so after we go south, let's go ahead and head east. We're back to the vague shapes where we were before, and east again. I'm in a mine yard. Let's go east again. I'm at the pit head. Let's head north. Okay, I'm in a mine, and I can see numbered buttons. Now, this one is where the game gets a little cryptic. We've seen a few text adventure games where the puzzles, in United Kingdom specifically, I gotta rib the guys in the United Kingdom. Their text adventure games have been so cryptically difficult, and this is no exception. All right, so we go east, and then we go north, and we need to press 2 from the buttons. You could, of course, see the buttons. So after we press 2, we end up driving into the mine. It takes us all the way into the mine. And I see Curtis mentioning the size of the game. I believe on the box it said 16K, and maybe that would be the reason why we're not getting a lot of description here. Possibly. Okay, so something did happen. We have driven into the mine. Let's go ahead and head east now. After that, we're back in the passage. Keep mapping it. Let's head north. We're in an abandoned gallery and can see a shovel. Let's change it up. Let's say take the shovel and see if it recognizes it. It does. So we take the shovel, and then let's head south. We're in a passage, and then go west. And then we're back in the mine. We can see the numbered buttons again. This time, let's press 1. And I'm sure on your first playthrough, you would be experimenting, pushing different things, probably dying a lot. Make sure you save the game. And this one, I'm following a walkthrough so you can kind of see what the game looks like. All right, so after we press 1, we end up going back where we came from before. Let's head south. We're at the pit head again, and let's go west now. We're in the mine yard, west again. We're back at the vague shapes, giving us a surge of power. Go west again. We're on a path. Let's go south now. In a stone circle, and let's dig. How did I know to dig? That's for you to find out. That's right. For everyone that's here live for the show, only Chronologically Gaming has the guts to do a live stream of a text adventure game. Ooh, it says, how do we want to dig? With shovel. And as soon as we dig in this spot, I guess you have to know you're in the middle of circles, we see the stone slab. Let's go ahead and move the slab. And when we move it, we see stone steps. It's getting interesting. Let's go steps. That's my favorite thing about text adventure games. Go door, go steps. And I'm on some old stone steps. And so right there, we'll stop our playthrough after we get to the stone steps. That is a taste of the Feasibility Experiment. Very vague and strange. Of all the games you can play across all home computers, I'm thinking around 2.5 to 3 stars. I'll give it 3 because it is going to be, we're going to see this re-released several times later. And of course, we didn't see the whole game, but I'll say 3 stars for this version of the game. But that's not all. Also tonight, we are also going to see the release of Feasibility Experiment on the original TRS-80. Let's check it out. This one is the later box, actually. Another one. I cannot find the original box that was on the original TRS-80. So this is the later release, again, showing Channel 8 software. This technically released first on the TRS-80, and it's the 146th game we've seen for the Model 1 or Model 3. The very first release of this game was done by Molomerx. The 10th time we've seen this company doing games like Cyborg and the very weird game Engine Driver. So you can see how I flip it over the back. It's kind of the same box we had seen before. Just slap a different sticker on it for each system you're on. I'm already seeing the ratings fly in. Let's see if it makes it any different when we get here on the TRS-80. Far beyond the outermost galaxy of our universe, beyond the wildest imaginations of mortal man, lies a newly born world. And this is the whole premise of the game, of the sci-fi theme, and what the point of the game is. What we're supposed to save the civilization by bringing their treasures or restoring their treasures. Just go find treasures and then come back, essentially. I'll let you read it whenever you want to. We will not read the whole thing. But this isn't the entirety of the map of the game. So you didn't have to map it out after all. You can follow this one if you want to, but this kind of shows you the size of the game. If you were here for the episodes we've done on Zork, you can see the difference. The Zork is huge compared to this map, but still very large. So you're going to get at least some fun times playing the Feasibility Experiment. And here we go. I do have the original scan of the cassette by Mallmerks for the TRS-80. You can see the copyright says 1982 here. And I mentioned this as we're in December 1982. Several of the games are going to get re-released, and so if you see the release date is 1983, it's because most of the time you can't find the originals, but there we go. There was 1982 for that one. And there's the 5 1/4 floppy disk for the later release done in 1984. That was the one that was picked up by a different company. So that's not the one we're going to play. We're going to play on cassette. There's the example of the screenshot. And let's play Feasibility Experiment. Let's take over where we left off on the TRS-80. Brian Howarth and Werner Barnes in the beginning of December 1982. Bring it on. So this one is going to be adventure number 7. 7. It's going to ask us our name. We didn't get asked our name on the Atari. I am Chrono. And yes, we want to load a saved game. I want to take over right where we left off. This one is the 4th time we've seen Digital Fantasia and the 12th time we've seen Brian Howarth. It is the 7th game in the Mysterious Adventure series. All right, so this program will, it's just like the Scott Adams games. All right, hit enter and we are right there on the stone steps where we left off. All right, let's keep going. Exits are up and down. Let's go ahead and head down. I'm in a rock-hewn temple. Let's go west. Now it's getting interesting. I'm by a rock altar. I can see gauntlets and a stone altar. Nice. Get gauntlets. I'd rather play gauntlet. Okay, we got the gauntlets. Let's wear them. Gauntlets. We're wearing gauntlets. Let's head east. And then we're still in the rock temple. Let's head up now. Up the stone steps. And we're back in the stone circle where we dug. And so let's go north from there. We're on the path. I remember the path. North again. We're in the Stone Age village. We can see the huts. And let's head west now. And west again. You feel a surge of strange power because we're at the vague shapes. Let's go north. We're in a tunnel. And now let's go west. In a tunnel again. Very, very original. Let's go south in a tunnel. Let's go... Oh, now I feel like I'm going to get lost. Northwest, south. Northwest, south. West, south. South, south. And then up. There you go. So I'm in the window. So you'd have to either follow the map that you made yourself, but you can understand every text adventure game we played always has a maze, something you can't escape from or get out of, and that's what just happened again. All right, let's head west. And west again. We're in a castle courtyard, and we can see a glowing brazier and a studded door. But I'm already kind of lost. If I was playing this text adventure game from the beginning without help, which, by the way, that's what we did on Chronologically Gaming. Originally, we'd just pop in the games, and then I would go in blind. Sometimes it wouldn't last very long. Check out when we didn't type in go door for 10 minutes. But now that I'm following walkthroughs, I'm thinking to myself, in my brain, would I even follow or be able to understand how to get through this? And probably not. It would take a lot of trial and error, and that's what most people did. All right, so after we go west twice, let's go north. Ooh, a grassy plain with some rocks. Ignore the rocks. Go north again. Grassy plain still. Go north again. And we're in the mountains on a path. Let's go north again. We're on a rocky path. Go north again. And we can now see we're at the lip of a chasm with a charred tree here. All right, let's tie rope to Tree. Does it understand that? Oh, tie rope to tree. You have to split it apart. And bear in mind, I keep bringing up Zork, but Zork, you could type in full sentences, and there's several other text adventure games. The text parser allows a lot more too. Right? If we can get more moments where you were experiencing the game for the first time, the text adventure game, and then the frustration behind it, that would give you the true December 1982 video game experience. But I'm not going to give it to you. We're actually going to get through the game so you can kind of see how the puzzles are solved too. All right, so rope's hanging over the edge. We have it tied to the tree. Let's examine the tree. Remember, only 2-word text parsers. Oh, and we see something. If you look at the top of the screen, that's what's visible. We see the charred tree, metal block, and a tied rope. So now we can get that block now that we examined it closely. We got the metal block. All right, let's head south now on the rocky path. Let's go south again and south again, going all the way down the mountain. Let's head west. We're in the mountains where the crevice is. Let's examine the crevice. And we see something. Now we see the flint, of course. Get flint. And following the puzzles like this, it all is coming back to me. I'm very familiar with the idea of looking again, maybe several times before you can really see something, and then examining things. We've also seen it with objects and items. And so this one actually harkens back to more of a classic era of adventure games. It's not doing anything that's pushing the text, the technology for the text parser. It's not doing anything to push the narrative or the story. It's very generic, very generic. So I still would say of all the games you could play up to this point, Feasibility Experiment isn't doing anything to wow or impress me. So of all the games you could play across all home computers, I still would say 3 stars. So fairly average for everything you could see or play up to this point. It has a little bit to it if you were wanting to collect the whole series, and Scott Adams did that as well. You know that it's part of a series of games, and so you know what to expect for the quality of it. But I'll still say 3 stars. I saw a lot of people throwing out 2.5 stars for everything up to this point. Yeah, mostly 2.5. Still around the average range. I wouldn't go as low because it's still 1982. Maybe when we get into 1983 and we see more games like this, I'm going to start rating them lower. But it's because we've seen other... I mean, this is a lot of text adventure games. 230 text adventure games. And of all those text adventure games, there are ones that are worse than this, but still around the average range that I would have said 2.5 for. I love it, Paul. If Zork's a gold nugget, this is Coprolite. Cool. Alrighty. And that's where we got to put the video game playing on pause. Thanks so much, everyone that's here. Now that we're back, Chronologically Gaming is back to play every single video game in order of release. For all that are here for the live show, thank you so much. And thanks again for all your support. Everyone that was supporting on YouTube and everyone that was supporting on Patreon. I couldn't have been back without you, and I really, really appreciate it. So next time on Chronologically Gaming, there's fires to fight on the VIC-20 and the Commodore 64, and we play the highly anticipated release by Synapse Software. That's it for today, and like I always say, if you're feeling a little sick, don't shrink a team of doctors down and inject them into your bloodstream. Just take some antibiotics. Hey everybody, thanks for checking out the channel and joining me on my quest to play every single video game in order of release. We'll be streaming live every weekday at 9 p.m. Central, so join us and let us know if we missed any games along the way. This video would not be possible without Launchbox, RetroArch, and MAME. Tell all your friends there's some crazy guy named Chronologically Gaming trying to play every single video game. We have links down below that'll send you to places like our Discord and Patreon, and one that says all the video games we've ever played. If you go there, it's a list of everything, and you can click right to the game you want to see. Chronologically Gaming is the name to look for. We are perpetually retro, and we will catch you next time.